Alright, good morning again everyone. Today has been a very exciting day. I just finished recording my last video about the patch notes for Splatoon 2, which I didn't expect to see today, but now I can actually move on to the thing that had me really excited originally, which was we just got a new trailer for Splatoon 3 today that I didn't really expect to see so soon, and it showed us more special weapons and gave us more details about everything. So I want to make a quick first impressions video and kind of go over the tweets that the Japanese account had going over the specials and kind of just give my thoughts and how I feel about them, especially compared to Splatoon 2 specials, because I just talked about that a bit in my other video, which I'll link in the description. And so I'll play this and we can get going. So the first special that we're going to talk about is the crab special, which we saw last time, but we actually didn't see exactly what it did. All we saw that it did is it shimmied back and forth, and it could shoot from its hands and from its mouth. It kind of had two places to shoot from, and that seems to be the case here. So if you read the tweet, which is auto-translated, is not perfect, but we'll work with what you have for now. It says, "Let's introduce a new special weapon confirmed in the video. This is a crab tank. Get into a crab-shaped multi-legged tank and fight with a shot of outstanding rate of fire and a cannon with a wide attack range. You can move it by walking with the crab as it is, but if you transform into a sphere, you can move more smoothly." So it actually doesn't work the way I thought it would initially. When the first trailer dropped for Splatoon 3, I thought it would be that you could sort of drop the crab and it would just be controlled on its own and kind of just do a crab walk back and forth and shoot. But it's actually a player controlled thing where the player gets on top of the crab's back, and that's really interesting because it kind of makes it like a combination of baller in a way and a sort of pseudo tank sort of thing. My initial thought when I see this is I wonder if you can shoot it to break it, or if it's going to be kind of the sort of like the bubbler interaction Splatoon 1, where if you shoot it while it's rolling at you, if you shoot it while it's rolling at you, if you can push it back a bit, that kind of thing. And if we go to the trailer that we have today, if you look in the middle here, you can kind of see the player just riding in the crab, and you can see that it's shooting from, I'm not sure if this is a claw or the main mouth, but look at this range. This is very impressive range. Like, this is honestly maybe charger range, give or take. You have the Gluga over here and it's being shot at. I'm not sure how many hits this is to kill. Maybe that was like 3 or 4 I'd want to guess, but that's pretty good distance. But the crab does from beyond here, you see they speed up the footage for a second, but it rolls there. We get a better view of it here. This is how you reposition with the crab. And what I'm assuming how this works is when you're rolling like this, the player isn't going to be able to die, but the crab can receive pushback is how I would guess it would work. But I think when the player, gets out of the crab and they're on the back of it, I can imagine you can either kill the player or break the crab or something of that nature, typical counterplay, like how you can shoot baller in Splatoon 2. Now, what else? Another thing I'm wondering about the crab is actually, I'm wondering if it works sort of on a timer, or there's an ability, like, you have the ability to kind of get out of the mech early if you so desire. That's another thing I'm wondering about it. And what I think is really cool about the special is it's kind of a multi-purpose special, and I think those are the most interesting in this game. What I mean by that is I think you could use the crab to sort of extend your own life. If the player isn't able to die while inside the crab, they can kind of just pop it in a risky scenario, roll away with the crab, to get out of a sticky situation, and I think that could be cool. Or alternatively, if you want to push in or create pressure at a distance, especially if the crab's range is around charger range that's really respectable, then that's another way to play it. And I think those are great. I love specials that can do that. Instead of it just being, one button that you click, sort of like Splash and Armor. I don't think those are particularly the most interesting things. But this is a good sign. I like seeing special design like this. Special design was something I was really worried about going into Splatoon 3, but from what I've seen today, it's actually pretty interesting, and I like that, and nothing seems particularly spammable. But we'll talk about the others as we get to them. There's also, what's interesting here is this is the second mode of shooting with the crab that I mentioned before. How, I'm not sure which one is the hand cannon, which one's the mouth. I'd imagine that the mouse shoots sort of like the shots that we saw before at the Gluga, but the hand cannon might be this. Yeah, like let me frame by frame this. I want to say this is the hand cannon. Frame by frame. Or is that the mouth? It's kind of hard to tell here. You do see the player shooting at the crab, but it doesn't really seem to have an impact on their shot here. And you see that the crab shoots this projectile here, and actually it two-shots the player over here. And what I'm imagining this is like, I'm imagining it's like an explosive, you know, think like Inkjet. Inkjet has the ability to one-shot if you direct, two-shot if you have good aim and they don't have bomb defense because it does 50 damage. Or, you know, you have the weak state, which is like 30. So I imagine the crab is going to follow a similar principle. I don't know if it'll be able to one-shot, maybe. But either way, two-shotting and painting as much as it did here is very respectable. Like, look how much paint this puts down. It's kind of insane, actually. Notice how much yellow is around here. Look how much... This is like a suction bomb paint. This is massive. Like, this is insane. And I'm saying this from experience with Splatoon 2, because early Splatoon 2 meta, Inkjet shots painted like suction bombs, and it was so easy to trap people, so easy to get multi-kills, because people would just be stuck. So I think that's crazy to me. Just seeing this, it gives me flashbacks of Inkjet at like peak Splatoon 2 launch state, which is crazy to me. Yeah, the special looked really interesting. So we're gonna go to our next special, and we can actually look at the images again real quick. You know, riding the turret, crab ball. Actually, I didn't notice this before. It seems to be climbing this wall. That's very cool if it can climb walls. I don't know if it has to be painted preemptively or if it's like Baller, because Baller had the ability to climb walls vertically in Splatoon 2. So I could see a similar principle following suit here, which is, it's fun. I like that. You know, and if you can use the crab defensively, that's, you know, another tool it can have. Because I remember one of my gripes with Baller in Splatoon 2 was it couldn't walk horizontally on walls at all. And I imagine this can't do the same thing. But still interesting. I like options with specials, so that's really fun. Yeah, there you are shooting the blast, sort of the AoE shot of it. Very cool. I like it a lot. Really excited to play with that. So our second special we're going to talk about is a new one that they showed today, and I'm honestly not entirely sure the details of how exactly it works. I'm very interested and a little bit concerned about how this special is going to work. But it says this is the Great Barrier. It's probably going to have a pun like that in English too, I imagine. It is a modified version of the special weapon that was once used in High Collar City, which I think just refers to, like, it's a variant of an old special weapon. A lot of Splatoon specials tend to not recycle from old specials, but some of the concepts and ideas kind of stay similar. But the output has been greatly improved by making it a stationary device, so it sits still, it does not move. Big is good is an idea that is typical of squids in the Bunkara region. Protect your allies with a Great Barrier that covers a wide area. So this is like a control point, defensive, stalling kind of special. In the trailer, when they put it down on the floor, it kind of expands like this, and you see this part at the top of it, and there's another bit on the floor. As for what it does exactly, I'm not entirely sure. It's a bit confusing in the trailer, because the undercover is shooting at the roller here, and the roller flicks the barrel, but the barrel takes no damage. I don't know if that's a trailer thing or what, because it's kind of weird. Roller does a lot of damage to barrel shield. But if you look at how the undercover is shooting here, since the roller is on purple and the undercover is on yellow, it seems that the barrier kind of repels. I don't know if repels is the best word I could use, but it kind of just blocks it. When I look at this, I kind of get the idea of how Gardevoir works in Smash, which is it's kind of just a big circle around it, and any projectile thrown at it gets reflected. That's kind of how I see this. And what I'm curious about is a lot of the interactions, right? I want to know, can I throw a bomb in there? Or is it just going to completely vanish? Is it going to be like an Ink Strike or Booyah Bomb thing, where if you throw a bomb at it, it's just going to instantly vanish? Because I get that kind of vibe with it, but I'm not entirely sure. I want to know two things that are really, really important with the special. I imagine there's some way to break it as a form of counterplay, right? Otherwise it's just be a little bit silly. I imagine you could shoot the bit at the top and probably the bottom. But what's interesting about this is I think this makes weapons that have longer range more effective at abusing it, but also dealing with it. And hear me out. It's kind of weird for the roller here, right? Because if you're a roller, you're a short range weapon. You know, if you're in there, they can see you clearly. I don't think roller would be a great abuser of this at first glance, but I'm thinking like Squeezer, Jet Squelcher, Bamboozler with this. That sounds incredible because you're a long-range weapon that has some sort of defense mechanism that makes it harder to contest you. And I think this kind of special, especially if you can place it on the tower in tower control, I think could be crazy. Crazy, crazy good. So honestly, I have a hard time judging how I feel about the special right now. Like, you can see all this ink like just gets blocked by it completely. Maybe it's an HP system. Maybe you can break it pretty quickly if you have multiple people shooting at it. But I imagine this kind of special will be really, really good in tower control if it works the way I think it does, and I think it could be really, really good in zones. And maybe it could kind of be an answer for how other people are using their specials, right? Because we think special interaction, think of the crab we saw before, how it can kind of shoot from its mouth and have the big AoE explosion shot. If the crab shoots at this and it gets repelled, that's insane. You know, if someone's trying to make a push with a crab, you can just stall with your Great Barrier. That's awesome. So I'm really curious how this is going to work. Although, by design, I do worry about this one a little bit. Because I think you need map design in Splatoon 3 to be very open-ended. I imagine that's kind of special if you threw it into like a Splatoon 1 retro map or something like that. In a game with like a lot of hallways and a lot of massive choke points, this is a little bit overbearing, and that be worrisome. But the general map design of Splatoon 3 has seemed very open-ended, very big, which is good. But the special still has a place, you know, like this is your top mid or whatever. It's like a overpass, but you're denying it, right? I think that's really cool. I think this kind of special could be really fun on something like, again, Bamboozler, Jet Squelcher. I think it could be really fun on Tenebrae too, honestly. I don't know, like, it just looks interesting. I'm very curious about it. So our next special is another new one, and this one's incredibly interesting. This is a special weapon that transforms into a Shadow Warrior, basically like a ninja Shoku Wonder. With the tentacles that stretch out and stick to the wall, you can fly around the stage endlessly, and the opponent team is squeezed. It seems that it'll automatically return to the transform place when the ink runs out, so that the real face is not exposed. That's really weird wording, but basically in the trailer for the special, I can find it. Wait for it. Oh, where is it exactly? I saw it earlier, it might have been one of the screenshots. But basically, it might be a filler placeholder for now, but basically the special, there seemed to be an Inkjet recoil marker, and we haven't seen Inkjet in this game, so I can only imagine that's kind of like, the special lets you do whatever you want, but at the end of it you have to go back to your original position, just like Inkjet did, which gives it a tangible weakness. But this special, conceptually, is, first of all, incredibly fun. I don't know what else to call it, it looks so fun to use. Because it breaks map geometry in a way that Inkjet does, where, say, if it does recoil the way I think it does, it has a temporary use, but it could be incredibly beneficial. I think the addition of Museum as a retro map, this map is from Splatoon 1, if you haven't played that game, by the way, incredible map, one of my favorites, so glad it's back. I think this is a perfect map to demonstrate this kind of special, because these walls, like this whole platform rotates, basically, but every bit of the wall is paintable. What you can do with the special, as they show it in the trailer here, you can latch yourself onto it. And as you make contact with a piece of stage geometry, I imagine it just like explodes, sort of paints like a burst bomb but bigger. And I think that has a splash hitbox to it. You know, think hammer. When a hammer hits a wall or the floor, it makes a splash hitbox. I think that's cool. And you know, I think the special will be really, really map dependent. I'll say, you know, you'll get more benefit out of it on a map like this, where you can kind of break the stage and sort of flank instantly into a position like this. I think on maps that lack that kind of paintable wall, it'll be a lot more niche. But this is just conceptually so fun. Like this kind of special on a weapon like the Splatbrella or like a Tetra Dually, since we know dualies are back in the game now. We saw Gluga in this trailer. I think that's so fun. This is just, I'm so excited for this one. It looks so fun. As for specifics, I'm curious as to if you could just shoot down and kill the person as they're like kind of like, you know, Spider-Manning it across the stage. You know, like when they're in that big like swing animation. I imagine they're vulnerable, right? Like the charger's pointing at them. You know, I think for trailer flair, the charger doesn't shoot them, but you know, I imagine there's ways to do that. But you know, I'm thinking like take this words. Take this map for example, right? There is no platform, strangely enough, to get up here, right? The only method I see on this map compared to Splat 1 to get onto enemy plat is the spinner in the middle. The spinner is the focal point of this map, and I think it's really fun. But because there's no block over here. Also, here's the Inkjet marker I was talking about before, where I think you'll recoil if it works how I think it does. But this is interesting, right? Imagine you're a player, you're down here, or over here, and you're kind of just sharking here, and you notice someone on plat's kind of peeking here. What you can do to be sneaky, depending on, you know, sound effects, you know, awareness, stuff like this. I think awareness will be the key thing to dealing with the special, is you could lasso or latch, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the official name is yet. You could go from like here to the back end of this wall, and you can kind of just sit up there and potentially line yourself up for a flank for a really important kill here. If this is like, say it's an important kill, right? Like hypothetically. So I think that's really cool. Like it's kind of like, it's like a sneaky Inkjet, right? Like it breaks map geometry, probably temporarily, in a really new and creative way that just abuses the mechanics of Splatoon, how you can paint walls, and I think that's so cool. That's so exciting. I love seeing specials like that. I think Inkjet was one of the outside of launch Inkjet because it was overtuned, I think Inkjet was the one the more fun or most fun specials in Splatoon 2 because it felt like it had a really tangible strength and weakness. You know, you can get crazy multi-kills and like the max range shots at E-liter range and one-shotting people right before your recoil, but at the same time you can die on the landing, like it's punishable. But that makes it so fun, right? Like a good Inkjet feels so satisfying. I think that's what specials should be. I want them to be fun. I want them to be satisfying. It looks so fun. And I'm wondering what the range of this is, right? Because before here, right? Like this is their own plat, I suppose, right? Over here. And they lasso across top mid. All the way across top mid. I'm pointing at my screen instead of using my mouse. That's how excited I am. All the way to enemy. Also, this is on a Splash, by the way. I think Splash could abuse this, right? The Splash is a perfectly accurate up on Splatoon 2, but it's very short range. So I think this is awesome. Like, if you had the... I'm thinking, like, the vanilla Splash in Splatoon 2, right? I'll say I forgot to set the music to loop. I'm just so excited, honestly. I can't believe it's been 15 minutes of talking. I'm just this excited about it, I suppose. But I think a short range weapon like this is awesome for this kind of thing. Again, I'd love to see a range blaster with this, a splat barrel with this, a Tetcher with it. That sounds awesome. I'd be so excited. Although what I do wonder is, you keep your main weapon during this obviously, but I wonder if it's only on a timer or there's a limit to how many times you can kind of like latch onto a wall. You know what I mean? Like I'm wondering if it says a raw timer, or you can latch with one arm onto one wall and then one arm on another wall and that's done. That's what I'm wondering. That's a big thing. But it just looks so fun. That's so cool. Also, this is a cool little squid surge. This trial is also exciting, right? Because it was kind of up in the air in my mind if they would return all weapons from Splatoon 2, and it doesn't necessarily confirm or deny it, but we know for sure the Glugadooly and the Undercover Brawler here, so, you know, logically, if you bring back the Undercover, you should have the Splat Barrel and the Tenna Barrel, so I mean, that's fun. I don't want to see a YouTuber in this game, they're probably going to bring it back anyway, but I probably get my Barrel, so I can't really complain, right? Exciting. Very exciting. Okay, so the last two specials we've seen in previous trailers, but we get a little bit more detail. Not so much on the Ultra Shot here. The other one, a bit more detail was given, but looking at this one's not even in the trailer today. I don't believe it's only in the first trailers that we've seen for the game. It says, details of the special weapon that appeared in the previous video have also been revealed. This is Ultra Shot. It is a modified version of the special weapon that was once used in High Color City, basically talking about it's based on the Inkzuka from Splatoon 1, which if you haven't played that game, it's basically you shoot a singular line that goes flying across the map at a very long distance and can one-shot people as long as they get scraped by it. And this is kind of like a revision of that. You know, I think Inkzuka became Inkjet in Splatoon 2, and this is kind of our Splatoon 3 equivalent. And it says, a powerful shot that shoots 3 spiral bullets at the same time is set for 3 cartridges. Let it go, Ultra Shot. So if you've looked at the trailers before, if you haven't seen it, look up the first trailer. The way this weapon shoots, I kind of view it as sort of a mini Inkzuka combined with a sloshing machine. Because what it does is you fire the 3 shots from the cannon, and they kind of arc in a similar way as the sloshing machine does. So it's going to be very, very effective at hitting people behind stage geometry, behind walls, around corners, that kind of thing. And, you know, I'm thinking... I'm wondering how many shots you get with this. If each shot is like 3. I'm wondering if it's also 3. And maybe that this is what it's indicating. I'm not entirely sure. Or if it's on a timer like Inkzuka is. But I think this special is going to be crucial in a mode like Tower Control, assuming that's back, but I'm guessing that it is. Because weapons like Machine flourish on stuff like Tower Control because of their AoE, because they can hit over walls, because they're good at that kind of thing. You know, think Anchovy TC in Splatoon 2, right? The second checkpoint is under that big wall. How do you deal with the wall? Well, the answer in Splatoon 2 is basically, you know, Inkjet, missiles, AoE like Machine or Kensa Rapid, that kind of thing. I think the special perfect for that kind of role. This is going to be excellent in Tower Control if Tower plays anything like it does in 2. I think this is just fun, right? Like, I think this is like a nice balance. I don't know, you know, what will determine if you can one-shot with this or if it's just like a 2-shot or what. But, you know, I think this is a nice compromise between Splatoon 1 Inkzuka and kind of a sort of AoE kind of special. I think that's really fun. You know, I think it's a given they'll make a 10 attack kit in this game with Splat Bomb plus this. It just feels like a gimme. There's no way they're not going to. I mean, maybe they'll do Suction plus that, or either or. It's the classic 10 attack thing, right? Splash Shot always has a kit with a Suction, a Splat Bomb, and a Burst Bomb if there's a third variant, always without fail. So I don't expect anything different. And the last special we're going to talk about today is one we've seen before and I was kind of worried about initially. It says, this is Megaphone Laser 5.1. No idea what that means. Uh, this also seems to be a modified version of the special weapon used before. Exploding small megaphones will autonomously, which means they attack on their own, attack the laser that tracks the opponent. The high-tech sector also seems to be developing rapidly in the Bukhara region. So the way I see this, it's kind of a combination of Tenna Missile meets Killer Whale. And what I mean by that is you have these 6 things orbiting you, and it says they'll attack automatically. So it's like Missile in the sense of it gives you information. The lines are infinite range, as we've seen in the trails before this. So it gives you information. You know, they're trying to shoot at the opponent. They may be missing horribly because I don't know how well balanced this is, but it's information, you know? A lot of how good the special is will depend on the damage it does, right? But I think this is the kind of special, sort of like Inkstorm, right? I imagine it is, where you keep your main weapon, you just deploy it, and it's just a temporary, you know, over time kind of thing. Also, speaking of main weapon, Machine looks excellent here. I love this. I don't know if Machine's colored purple in this game, or if the purple pinkish kind of color here changes with your ink color to match. I don't know if that's either or is the case. Either way, I love this redesign. It looks so nice. It looks so clean. I love it. Amazing. But the special is interesting, right? Because it combines the info at Missile once again, but it combines the infinite range aspect of Stingray and Killer Whale. But what I like about it is that it attacks automatically, and I think that's good. Because Stingray in Splatoon 2 was the kind of special you only wanted to put on long-range weapons that tend to sit in the back. You know, Splatterscope, Custom Jet Squelcher, that kind of deal. Stingray on short to mid-range weapons, such as Machine, Vanilla Machine, 52 Deco, and the normal Clash Blaster, that special didn't fit this weapon. And I think this is a good solution, right? Because if you get to keep your main weapon, you get to play the game as normal. So I think these kinds of specials, just on a base level, do a better job of not inherently, you know, screwing over a kit, right? Because in Splatoon 2, you see Clash, it was like a launch weapon, and you see Stingray, which is like this infinite range laser you want to use in the back of the map. It doesn't make sense. The Clash always wants to be in the front. It just, the playstyles don't work together. But I think if you replace Stingray, like if you had a Machine with this, which I imagine there is based on the fact you have a Machine here in the trailer, if you have this on Machine, if you have this on Clash, a 52 Deco, I think it could be really cool. I think it could be fun. I'm a little bit worried about balance, right? Because it attacks automatically, it's infinite range, and it pierces through walls. That's a bit worrying, but, you know, if it's only like a minor little bit of damage, not too much, too overbearing, and the tracking isn't like, you know, like task level Stingray following you, you know, I think it could be fun. Depending on how long it lasts. I'm a little bit worried this one has to be a bit iffy, but I could see there being really fun things with the special. Yeah, the cards, every single special they've shown so far, I'm excited. This game looks very, very interesting. I'm super excited to use these specials. I already love imagining what kind of specials, or what kind of weapons go with these specials and how they can synergize the kits with sub-weapons and that kind of deal. And overall, it looks really fun, and I'm excited. As I think Splatoon 2 had a bit of a problem where some specials are a bit too spammable. You know, I think Armor and Missile are kind of the definitive example. I think Stingray is the kind of special that's going to be absolutely overtuned in the hands of a good player, but not fun for a low-level player. Yeah, I don't think a low-level player enjoys Stingray, because they'll feel like they'll get a million hits but not actually confirm a kill. It's that kind of thing. Like, Stingray is satisfying to use if you have the map knowledge, but like, I think these kinds of specials are what they should aim for in Splatoon 3, so they're looking good. I'm liking it. We'll have to see the details, how they interact, what kind of weapons they put it on, and we'll see. We'll keep up to date. Yeah, I just wanted to cover the special weapons for today, and that pretty much is all we've seen so far. There might be more. This is only 5. I imagine there's a bomb launcher equivalent in this game because it's been there for 2 games. I can't imagine it's taken away, but they're probably wanting to show off the new stuff because it's interesting. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for these specials? Which one's your favorite? What kind of special do you want to see on your favorite weapon? Tell me the kind of kits you want to see. I'd love to hear. And yeah, that's all I got for right now. I'll probably make more videos on Splatoon 3 content in the future and other kind of things. I'm trying to separate them by category, and special weapons is kind of its own video in itself. I've kind of been rambling, but you know, I hope you guys are excited like me, you know? And yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. I hate chilling for myself, but you know, it's kind of how it works. But above anything else, I hope you guys have a good day. And I'll see you.